Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny, and we're gardening here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. I have been away from the garden for 2 whole weeks. We went on vacation to Minnesota and we visited our kids out there, and you may have seen some of the gardening videos that we did while we were there. But now we're back. It's been exactly 2 weeks that we were gone, and there was no irrigation set up on timer. There was no garden helper coming over to water anything. So let's take a look around the garden and see how things look after being gone for 2 weeks. This isn't going to be a normal yard tour. I'm not going to be labeling any plants this time. Sorry. If you want to know what I have planted, you can look at the September 1st yard tour. It has all the labels for all the plants on it. But today I'm just going to be taking a quick walk around all the garden spaces and kind of getting a sense of how plants did while I was gone. You may remember that I did a whole lot of planting 2 weeks ago. I was working on this front yard refresh project, and I was getting things into the ground, getting them into the ground. And the reason for that is because I knew we had this trip coming up, and I didn't want all the plants in my stash to die a slow death of lack of water while we were gone for 2 weeks. So I planted them all, knowing that they'd be better off in the ground than they would be in their cans. However, I didn't have anybody coming over to water any of the new plantings, and I didn't have my irrigation set up. So they were on their own with whatever Mother Nature brought their way. So let's take a look and see. We'll start out at the front walk, and we'll look at the new flower beds out at the front walk, and then we'll look around the front foundation and then around the backyard, and let's see how things fared. There's a couple things I want to check for. One, did anything die from drought or suffer or need to be rehabilitated from drought? 2, did we have any deer damage? I hope not, because I just sprayed really thoroughly right before we left. And 3, how are things doing with their flowering cycles? Are they winding down? Do they need to be deadheaded? I'm sure I have things to be deadheaded. But what other projects are there now in mid to late September that weren't there in early September? So I have watered everything since I got home, which we got home like an hour ago, and I've watered the front yard. I haven't watered anything on the side or the back. So that's why things are looking a little bit damp here. So the Burford Holly is doing well. In fact, it's putting on new growth. Millennium Allium, they're hanging in there. I may have lost my daisies. They may have dried out. The dahlias, they're looking a little rough, but they were looking rough before. The zinnias volunteered here, and they look really great, actually. I should probably cut some off so we'll get some more blooms. Sunshine Ligustrum looks great. Weigela looks great. And these 2 daisies here, it looks like I might have lost them as well. And then on this side, kind of the same story. Burford Holly's looking good. Sunshine Ligustrum's looking good. Millennium Allium, they're doing well. Weigela's okay. The daisies look like they're doing a little bit better over here. I do have a little bit of weeds. Now this is crabgrass, and this did not come up through this bed. This was seed landed there and grew from scratch. However, this probably did poke up through. So I have a little bit of weeding to do here, and along this edge here also. We're getting some creep in from the lawn, so I have some maintenance to do on this edge. The magenta chiffon Rose of Sharon, it hasn't flowered, and I think that's because it was dry. When flower buds do that without flowering, I think they're too dry. But the plant seems to be doing okay. We just need to get it through the winter to next year, and it'll be fine. Let's take a look at the front yard, the front foundation shrubs that we just planted and the new plantings. I do have some weeding to do. My sod removal apparently was not fully complete. Actually, you know what? These are wild onions. These are wild onions that are coming up through there. That's not grass. So, darn, those onions get me every time. Anyway, so the soft touch hollies are doing well. They were a little dry, but I think they're going to do fine. They need a haircut. Not all that growth is since I planted them, but some of it is. So they're doing well. Good. The dahlias are doing well. I deadheaded all of them before we left, and now they've all gone through a whole new flush of blooms and are ready to be deadheaded again. I really like these reddish pink ones back here, and these yellow ones. Hey, Bumble. Oh, I love this pink one too. Very pretty. I'm happy to see that. Well, it looks like we Had a little bit of dahlia loss right there, but all things considered, this is pretty good. Check on the things I just planted. Let's see. We just planted this Miss Kim lilac right there, and its leaves did get a little dry and shrivelly. I've already watered it, so I'm hoping it'll bounce back overnight. I'll water it again in the morning. The powwow wildberry echinacea, 2 of them here and 2 of them over here. They're doing really well. But this one has a weird thing going on with it. Is this some sort of disease? Some malformation of its petals? Isn't that odd? I don't know what's going on with that. I think I read somewhere that that's some sort of disease when it gets malformed petals like that, but I don't know. And these look really nice, except for the pest damage. Okay, what else did we just plant? How about these, what are these? Leucothui. They look really good. Both of them are doing fine. No evidence of any stress or strain. So that's good news. Back here, the Taylor juniper is doing really well. I've watered it, but it doesn't show any signs of water stress. That's great. This holly is one we just trimmed, but this one is one that we transplanted, and it is looking rough. It has a lot of dead limbs in it now, so I'm not sure if I'm going to take it out or keep watering it and trim it back and see what it does. I need a strategy for that. That's on my list of things to consider. And here's a close-up of the Miss Kim. It's looking pretty heat stressed, but we'll keep it watered for the next few days and see if it'll bounce back. All right, over on this side, what did we just plant? This orange rocket barberry is looking a little drier than the one across the way, so I'm gonna have to keep my eye on this one and make sure it stays moist for the next couple of days and make sure that it has a nice chance to root in. Just keep it watered. We also recently planted that echinacea back there, and it's doing pretty darn well. I love those flowers. I'm looking for more. That is the raspberry truffle. I recently transplanted this, moved it from one spot to another, and it's doing fine. Those fairy roses, man, they're cast iron. Nothing bothers them. This is a ruby star echinacea that the deer have eaten all of the petal stalks off of it, so I don't think it's going to flower for me this year, but I'm hopeful for next year. This encore azalea has put out a few blooms. Looks like they're done now. I've missed them, but not very many. I wouldn't rave about this as a repeat bloomer azalea, honestly. I don't think, if you can count the number of blooms on one hand, I don't know that that counts. The same thing over here with this one. This is the same variety. These are autumn twist, and there's just a very few repeat blooms on them. But anyway, that's an side shoot conversation. All right, this is what the Miss Kim is supposed to look like. This is what healthy leaves look like. And so the one that's over there looking dry, we're going to keep it watered and see if we can get those leaves back into a shape more like this. Here's the powwow white echinacea with, oh, what, 4 o'clock's hanging all over them. Get off of there, you. Here we go. All right, so 1, 2, 3. This one is done blooming, but it's still alive. I count that as a win. So those are doing all right. Here's a leucothui. It also is looking great. No worries about that one. This one over here was looking droopy, and I do see some burning on the leaf tips here and there. Oh look, we've lost this limb, but that got broken. That wasn't from being too dry, but yeah, we've got some. This is probably from being too dry. When the leaves dry out from the tips back toward the stem, that's usually evidence, I think, that it's drying out. At least I think. I'm not sure exactly, but that's my guess. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one too. Keep them all well watered, but especially that one. All right, let's check on these Taylors and the holly. All right, this one looking good. I don't see any problems with it. great. And how about this holly? This is a holly that we transplanted. Now this was already sparse, so the sparseness is not from the transplant, but oh, that's a broken branch. Okay, here we go. Here's some transplant shock dying off. Yeah, we might lose some of the center of this. Yeah, I'm not convinced that this is going to live either, but we'll keep watering it and hopefully it will live. All right, this Taylor's looking good. The tips being bent over like that is not an indication of lack of water because they were like that when we planted them. And let's see, the containers, of course, totally dried out. Didn't expect anything else there. And then here's this other Taylor juniper. It's looking really good. All right, so I'm pretty happy with the results of the front yard. Everything seems to be alive. A little bit of thing to keep an eye on, but all things considered, 2 weeks without any support, it's looking pretty good. So let's take a walk through the side yard and the backyard. Just from here, things look good. I'm not seeing anything that I need to worry about. We do have lots of falling leaves already. Things are starting to dry out and fall down. The Hosta lancifolias, which I believe is what these are, they're fully blooming right now. I really like them. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I do. Over here, these are pink forget-me-nots that I really, really need to transplant. And this container is dry, and that's why they're droopy. So, but get some water on that, it'll be fine. Everything over here is looking pretty good. This container, this is an annual polka dot plant. It's seen better days, but you know, it's fall. Those ferns have done really well this year. I think they like that I'm watering everything back there. Coleus has gone to flower, so we could pinch those off like that. But this is a Let's Dance Rave hydrangea, and it's doing really well. The planter box is doing great. Everything. Oh wait, what's this? We've got one branch down in there that has died off. Shoot. All right. Well, we'll trim that off, and then we'll encourage growth to fill in around it. All right, let's see, the heucheras are looking really nice, changing color to a fall color. All the hostas are doing well. They're getting a little bit eaten, but not terrible. Hellebore is doing fine. This is the first time I've had an impatiens do well in this garden. I don't know why, but this year this one seems to have liked its spot. More flowers on coleus, more flowers on coleus. But yeah, everything in here. Let's see. This Sun King, totally eaten up. Really, really rough, actually. Probably needs more water. It needs to be baited for slugs and earwigs. So that one is a little iffy. Otherwise, this area is looking pretty darn good. Yay! No surprise, the endless summer hydrangeas are thirsty. They're always thirsty, and they become drama queens about it, don't they? This is my tea olive, and it's put out a lot of new growth while we were gone. It's nice. All these hostas blooming. Again, some people don't like it, but I really do. I really love it. It's frothy, pretty, I think. This is a Daphne, fragrant, what is it? Eternal Fragrance Daphne, and it just always looks dry. So I'm gonna have to irrigate that one really well and try to keep it more moist. These daisies have been deadheaded and they are looking dry also, but it's the end of the season for them, so they're all right. Hosta's hanging in there, it's okay. The sedum, Autumn Joy, is as much blooming as this one gives me. It's not very densely blooming because it doesn't get very much sun. But even as it is, I like it. Petunias are, it's time for fall. The David Phlox put out a second flush of bloom, and that was a big surprise to me. It's not as full as it was the first time around, but I'll take it. This was an annual container that had all kinds of things in it before, but the Diamond Frost Euphorbia has really taken over. Actually, I'm not sure it's Diamond Frost. Some kind of annual Euphorbia has taken over. And it's kind of pretty, especially mixed with these hosta flowers. And we're getting some more balloon flowers too. This put out a second flush. This is a sedum, but I'm not sure which one it is. A friend of mine gave this to me, and it's doing really well. It's gotten leggy, and it's kind of leaning in on the peppers. Oops, I just broke it. Shoot. All right, I'm just going to leave it there. And we have lots of habaneros that are ripe and ready to pick. Bobo, how you doing, Bobo? You've turned green. No pink Bobos for us. I wonder if I'll ever get pink flowers on the Bobo. We'll see next year, hopefully. Incrediball has flushed out after the deer ate it up in the front yard. And so I have high hopes for this next year. Things down this way. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty much like I left it, actually. Oh no, I see a problem. I see a big problem. Oh, that's a heartbreak right there. Oh. I mean, I knew these arborvitae wanted to be wet. I knew they wanted to stay consistently moist. And this is a problem. This is really not very recoverable. I might have to take that one out and replace it. From here, it's not terrible, but yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. They're all getting some damage from lack of water, but this one, that's tough. How's everything else doing? Rose of Sharon is still putting out blooms, got more buds on it. All these annuals down here are doing pretty well. We got a lot of foxglove's going to be coming. Phlox is done. There's some more balloon flowers that I just tossed in there, and they're hanging in there. These annuals are looking pretty overgrown, all things considered, aren't they? Oh my, hello. Zephyrine Druin Rose has grown a fair bit. She needs to be put onto this arbor. Nice. Yeah, that's a job. And let's see, Chinese Snowball has got buds setting for next spring. So that's exciting. We'll have blooms on there next spring. This white Gara is pretty, but it's probably in the wrong place. I'll probably be moving that. Oh, the dogs of the neighborhood are going crazy. And then back in here, this Can Rose is also grown and put on a lot of length, and also needs to be put up onto this obelisk. This one's thorny. I'm not going to touch it right now. All right, and this Gara is blooming, and the little Devil Nine Bark is growing. Furman's Red is growing. This is my, what is it? Proudberry Coral Berry is growing. I don't see any blossoms or buds on it. I mean, no berries this year, but it'll be nice for next year. I'm not seeing anything that has died except these arborvitae. Oh, that's crushing. Oh, and these Rose Campion. Look at that. They're not really loving life there either. Sedum's doing well. These are Rockin' Plain the Blue Salvias that are just gone nuts back here. And the Twist and Shout is doing well. It's gotten so big this year. Looks like everything back here is still alive. All these evergreens are doing well. Oh, we have blooms on the skip laurels. Nice. Those are fragrant also, although we won't be able to enjoy them from our yard very much. They are fragrant. I think that's the sign of a healthy plant if it puts out that many blossoms. Somewhere down in there is a China Boy Holly. I'll have to move these salvias out of this spot and uncover that holly for the future. Same thing with these sedums. All right, things have gotten kind of wild and woolly back here a little bit. All right, and let's just walk up this way. The dragon ladies have berries on them, and the berries are starting to turn red. So that's pretty. That one doesn't have as many berries, but there are some. Things along here are doing pretty well. This phlox is blooming. That's a second flush, so that's nice. I like the color. I like the white centers on that. That's pretty. I think that is Laura, if I remember correctly. The camellia has lots of buds on it for next spring. So that's good. Boxwood's fine. Everything up here, the tomatoes are done. Need to pull them out. Boy, this marigold is going to town. Look at all those buds. It's about time to pull the marigolds out though and let these nandinas have some space. All these shrubs seem to be doing all right. How are the dahlias doing? Remember these are the ones that I cut back so hard. This one's doing well, and look at all the buds on it. Oh, and it has bloomed while we were gone even too. This one is probably one of the best ones, and I really like its flowers too. This is Seattle. Seattle has lots of buds on it right now, flowers. Some of these others, they're not doing as well, but that's probably to be expected. So, oh, Limelight has flopped over completely, but she's putting out a new bud there and a new bud there. All right, it's looking shaggy, but looking healthy mostly. This is another Encore azalea, and it has 3 flower buds on it. So not exactly a prolific rebloomer. How's the courtyard looking? Let's peek over. Kind of wild. Kind of overgrown. And how are these doing? Have the goldfinches been eating? I don't know. Here we go. Here's evidence of the goldfinches eating these seed heads. This is why I set them out here, so the finches can have a dinner. And it's working. Good. Well, friends, it looks like my 2 weeks away was okay for my garden. The stuff out front is doing all right. The arborvitaes back here, I'm very concerned about them. I'm going to be doing some research about what to do about it. I think the 2 of them, I can probably trim out the dead parts and just keep them well watered and they'll be fine. But that third one up against the fence, that one is looking really rough. So I don't know. If you know what I should do about it, please let me know. I will be watering them, of course, and trimming out the dead. But if you know something about how I might be able to reinvigorate or revitalize an arborvitae that looks like that, please let me know. My understanding is they don't really grow back and fill in like I would probably want them to. So I don't know. But if you know, let me know. Otherwise, the garden is looking a little wild, a little in need of haircuts here and there. But overall, I'm very pleased, especially with the front yard, that we didn't lose any of the plants that we just put out there. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed my look around the garden after 2 weeks away. And I hope you'll come back and take a look around things as we get the yard back into shape and do more projects and have a wonderful fall here. I hope you're having a great day in your garden, and I will see you in another video real soon. Bye-bye.